Is there anyone there? Hello? Well, I'll be. I guess the camera scared her away. Maybe she'll come back. Well, here's somebody over here. Maybe they'll be interviewed. Hi there. Hi. Would you consent to be interviewed?
No.
You don't like cameras either?
Not when I'm sitting in a hospital waiting room.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bad timing, eh? Maybe this woman will consent to be interviewed. Oh, she looks too busy. Well, maybe I'll interview myself. Oh, this is another Dave TV production. You notice we're in the mirror there. People think I'm gonna have a big ego. Well, they're right. To be or not to be? To film or not to film? That is the question.
557.
Say, there's a doctor. Let's get the doctor on film. Are things pretty slow in there, Doc?
What?
Things pretty slow in there?
Not really.
Is Jack Post gonna live?
You'll be fine.
It's just the twinge in his back, eh?
Supervisor, please call 238. Supervisor, call 238.
2 years ago, he disappeared for, it was a good 2 weeks, and I gave him up for dead, and I never even cried at my own parents' funeral, and yet I was crying like a baby over Buddy, you know, over my cat, which really blew me away that I'd have such an emotional attachment to him. But I was playing with Dean Rollins in a gig over in Penetang for a hospital fundraiser over in Midland, and he invited me over there, so I was there till like 3 o'clock in the morning before I got home. And when I got home, my brother Wes was here visiting, and here he had Buddy. And Buddy was all bedraggled, and he was skinny as a rake. And I found a wound on his hip, and I believe that he had been hit by a snowmobile, and he crawled in the bushes, and he had recuperated his, you know, he got it back together. And I guess Wes found him stumbling out of the bushes when he went walking with Chopper. Come on, Buddy.
So where did you get this doll?
At the Passing Kisses in Collingwood on 1st Street.
So look at her. Do you love her?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's there's a magnitude to everything, right? If you make love to the thing, it's gonna love you back.
Even if it's rubber?
Sure. Well, that's what you have to use in jail for a eraser is rubber. If I get the facts right. It's called boudoir.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Boudoir. Oh. Yeah, the faxes there are written and said. So that's two things they can't class. That's why they're lawyers. Did you beat her up? No, I blocked her. That's what this one guy said. I believe him. He's a Vietnamese soldier.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So in jail, would they like a doll like that being around?
Oh, I had several orders, but the one old guy, he's an old guy, so he only wants those little airplane bottles, like, not a big bottle, just a small bottle. And then you got this little girl, she's like 15 inches, she'll come over and give you a bottle, you got a little remote control.
Introducing another Dave TV production. We have Desi Pardon and the Pardonettes. We have Blue Lightning tonight. You're not supposed to film there when you're. I'm doing the introduction here. God damn it! I'm doing the. You don't focus on the other bit players. I am the main manager. I am. Victor, I'm telling you right now. Victor, don't do this to me. You're ripping my video. Okay.
All Dave, all night.
All Dave, all night.
It's like Saturday Night Live, only
Okay.
Dave Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the MC for the night, Brian Rice. No, you keep it focused on me, fool. He comes to me. Like, don't you know anything about choreography or the semantics of film production? And you don't make quick moves with the camera.
Cinematography.
I am Celluloid King.
Dave's doing this monologue.
Yeah, so in 2008, the band was clipping along pretty good, and Rick and Des and Kevin and I were getting together on a regular basis, and along came July, and I was running my business, Powerline Lot Painting, and I had this crew, and we were doing daytime work, and we were doing this job down at Max Milk on a Friday, and I just happened to have this midget working for me, and the traffic was so bad he almost got run over by this guy in an Eldorado, and I had this other guy named Hawk working for me. He jumped the guy in the Eldorado, and they almost had a fist fight in the parking lot about him almost running over my midget. So anyway, the next thing that happened was we ended up going to Tim Hortons. We were doing the lines down the road, and anyway, with Powerline Lot Painting, I do a lot of different places around town and out of the area. But because of that incident at Max, because of that, and my midget almost getting run over, I decided that no more daytime work at all. It's all going to be at night when there's no traffic around. So we started doing it at night all the time, and we worked throughout the night when there was no traffic. And so this is what led to the accident. We were going out at midnight to do this parking lot in Meaford, and so the guys wanted to stop at a restaurant and get coffee and that, and they all smoke, so they wanted to go out on the patio. So we go out on the patio, and it just so happened that my ex-drummer's wife was sitting right on the patio there at this table, so I decided I'd sit across from her. So I go to sit down, and, you know, even though I had lost 30 pounds that summer, I was still like 300 pounds. And I had a black coffee in my left hand, and I went to sit down and I hit this raw piece of steel, and I caught it right in the back, and I dumped my black coffee all over my groin and burnt my thighs and pitched forward on my hands and knees, and I had the most excruciating pain in my back that I've ever had. And so then I had to, I jumped right up, and I went in and started screaming at them about how they had no seat in there, out there in the patio, and I told them I was going to sue them and all that. But I ended up finishing the shift, doing the lines. Then I came back, went to the hospital. I dropped all my guys off and went to the hospital. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning by this time. And I knew that if I go to the hospital, there would be a record of me going to the hospital about my back, because I did intend to sue these people for this because I knew I was hurt, right? But the pain in the back, I knew there was something wrong with me over the next month and a half. I was getting like sick, more sick, and more sick. And then I started walking like a robot. And I was like deathly ill, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And I went to the Collingwood General Marine Hospital, where I ran into a certain doctor that I once told him that he didn't know his Hippocratic Oath because he wouldn't help me with the pain I was having. And anyway, every time I see him, we end up having a conflict. So I ended up leaving the hospital that time. But what I ended up doing was, I knew I had to get to some hospital because I was ill. So I went to Toronto because they have the best hospitals. But what I didn't anticipate was that there would be like a 4-hour lineup, and I was there well past midnight, and there was no parking in that. And when I finally did get a spot in the queue, I had went out for a smoke, And when I come in, I lost my place in the queue, and they put me all the way at the back again. So I got really upset and I left. But the next day, I got separated from the guy that I was with down there, and he ended up missing me. I was down on Lakeshore, and anyways, I ended up collapsing on Lakeshore Boulevard, and an ambulance came and took me to Toronto General. They took me to Toronto General, and still they didn't run any tests on me, and they ejected me out about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So now I'm out, and I'm still deathly ill, and I'm wandering around like a zombie. I'm trying to get out of Toronto, and I'm completely unaware of like all my sense of direction screwed up. And I thought I was getting to the north end of Toronto so I could start hitchhiking. At one point, I actually got a hold of my accountant, and he lent me $100 to get the bus back. And that all got screwed up because I missed the bus. And so then I ended up using that money to take a cab out to Vaughan, because I knew a guy out that lived out in Vaughan, and I was going to drop by his place. So it was raining it was coming down in sheets that night. Now it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. Again, this is the following day. Haven't had any sleep, deathly ill. And I go to the buddy's door, and he's not there. So I ended up spending the whole night at this gas station, this Petrocan, with this East Indian fellow that he took me in out of the rain. He gave me hot coffee, and he really actually saved my bacon that night. And but what happened was the next day, he took me out of Vaughan out towards the other end of Brampton, and I phoned my sister to come and get me, and she couldn't find the bloody coffee shop where I was at. So the day wore on, and it was a very hot day. And so finally I decided, okay, I'm going to strike out on my own again, try and hitchhike and get back. Well, I made it as far as Orangeville, and then I collapsed in Orangeville. I ended up in the hospital in Orangeville now. The same thing happened there. They didn't check me out. They didn't run any tests. They just let me stay there the night, and then they threw me out in the morning again. And this time in the morning, the cops put the run on me because I was wandering around in a daze, and they took me to the outskirts of Orangeville and said, like, get out of here. And I just couldn't believe it. And then now a good cop comes along, and he's seen me. I was like staggering down the road and really deathly ill. And he says, my God, you're ghastly ill. You look like you're death warmed over. I says, yeah, I know. I went to the hospital, and they didn't give me any help. And he says, well, where do you live? I says, I live in Collingwood, outside of Collingwood. And he says, well, I can't take you all the way to Collingwood, but I can take you to Shelburne, and then from Shelburne you can call your family, and they can come out there. And that's exactly what happened. So they come and got me, and as soon as they got me, I got even worse, and I started puking and bringing up. So they took me to the hospital. I ended up in the hospital, and they still didn't run any tests. And it wasn't until, like, my sister's a nurse, when she started checking the levels in the hospital room, she seen all my levels were plummeting, so I was dying. And she screamed at the doctor saying, I'm going to sue the pants off you guys if you don't run some tests. Obviously there's something wrong. He's getting paralyzed. His legs aren't moving. So finally they run me over to Barrie, and I had an MRI there, and then bingo, bango, there's the thing on my spine. It's like, it's like something out of the horror movies. It's so long. It's like that long. And, they said, oh, you're going to die if we don't operate on you immediately. So they rushed me down to London University Avenue Hospital to one of the best neurosurgeons in Canada. And before he rushed me into the operating room, he said, here, you got to sign this because you're going to be a quadriplegic after we do this to you, because we have to open up your spine and this has to be taken out of you. And the trauma to your spine is going to leave you a quadriplegic. So anyway, I really didn't have any, everything had happened so fast, and I was so sick, I really didn't really sink in. But I thought, okay, this is it. If this is it, this is it. There was no panic or anything. I really never ever thought I was going to die. And so anyway, I went under the knife, and I woke up the next day. And when I woke up the next day, first thing I seen when I opened my eyes were all my friends, and they were seated around the bed. And my family, some of my family were there too. So that was a really, it was a good thing to wake up to, but it was emotionally devastating because I could not move. I couldn't move. Couldn't move at all. I walked into the hospital under my own power, and now the medical community had basically paralyzed me because they didn't work on me soon enough, right? So I was pretty upset, but anyway, I believed that, I would recover and all that. But, it's been it's 5 years now. And I have gotten my arms came back within the first 3 months. My hands started moving again, and then my arms started moving. And within 6 months, this leg started moving. So I thought, hey, well, maybe I'm gonna get out of this wheelchair and that. And so then I discovered about stem cell treatment, and that's when the band helped me. When I got out of the hospital, I was in the hospital for 1.5 years, and when I got out of the hospital back into the community, the band helped me. They helped me get. We did a fundraiser at the local Legion, and did the fundraiser to get my van. So we bought the van after that. And then a year later, by that time I had found out about stem cell treatment. And so now I was really gung-ho on, because I had talked to people that had this and they were walking now. So I was really excited about getting this done. And I was willing to go through, hell in a handbasket to do it. So the band got behind me again, and we did some more gigs, and we played at the Legion a couple of times. But the majority of the money that put me to Mexico was the fact that my aunt had left my brother and I a piece of property, and we actually mortgaged that property. So that was the lion's share of the money that actually put me down to Mexico to get the stem cell treatment. And when I got the stem cell treatment, I started moving the right leg. So I'm starting to move the right leg a little bit now. I can move the thigh somewhat, and but it's been a real I'm a different person now from a lot of viewpoints, because it's like it's a second life, because it's the old life is totally gone, right? I lost a lot of things, but I've gained a lot of things spiritually that I didn't have. A lot of people don't realize, but it makes you come closer to God. Tragedy brings you closer to God.
I got you. Focus. You're in focus. Here, play with it. Shoot me. Just don't push that red button or else we'll lose.
So what do you think though, man? Like you said, you think that the guitar player didn't like it?
Well, I detected some animosity there. I think it was because the French Connection Blue Lightning was headlining on Mother's Day, and the French Connection played just before us. Yeah. And I think he sensed that the theatrical act that my band was going to put on would have wrapped it up. But unfortunately, unforeseen circumstances came into play, and we got disqualified.
I don't think it was that. I think it was that he didn't have a chance to rehearse with you.
Oh, we didn't want him to play guitar. We had our own guitar player.
Well, maybe he didn't know that.
Oh, anyways, he's a great guitar player. Yeah. But right now the music scene needs somebody fresh and unknown. Yeah. To burst onto the scene. Yeah. Like
to burst onto the scene like a
shooting star.
Like a bunch of asteroids.
Yeah. Asteroids, like a comet.
Like the Milky Way or something. Right?
Yeah, the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blue Lightning and the Milky Way.
Yeah. Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
Northern Light Rider.
Yeah.
Dancing in the Sky Tonight. A wondrous wizard of beauty throwing shafts of frozen light.
Every one of those would be a good name for a group.
What?
Don't quit your day job, bud.
Northern Light Rider?
Every one of those.
Day job.
No. Hey, let's get this guy on camera here. Are we doing on the spot Dave TV interview? On the spot Dave TV interview?
got a mic stand. Wayne has a mic stand. Did he bring it?
No, I want to listen to the music.
Yeah, let's go then, Des. Where's Wes?
Where the fuck are you going?
Dizzy. Cut. We're leaving. You've been fucking out running roads for fucking half an hour.
Bullshit.
Oh yeah, I've been there a few times where he just he goes right for the stage, Mr. Showboat that he is. And Dave with that horn. Sometimes he can play it not too bad, but there's times where he hits that wrong note and it's not good. It's not good.
It's fine there when he goes up. He just wants to play some music, and sometimes I think you have to be a little aggressive with these people that have been running the show around Collingwood and Saga Beach and the area, because it's like the big grand pecking order, and if you don't try and get your name up there or whatever, and you don't push it, they won't let you up. They actually will bring the hook out before you even get up there. They'll already have you pulled off the stage, and it's actually pretty brutal. There's been a lot of people that haven't got a chance to get up and do their thing up there because of this grand pecking order. It's quite disappointing, actually.
I just like to play, and so I go up on the stage, and sometimes I don't make it up on the stage, unfortunately. They block the way. But mostly people want to hear me play. That's why I'm eager to get up and play. So, the people want to hear me play. Don't they?
You had your trumpet.
Yes, they did.
And we were sitting at the same table in the corner. We were enjoying the music. And then Dave whipped out his trumpet because he got so enthusiastic he wanted to play along from the table. So next thing you know, he's blasting it in my ear and saying, "Oh my God!" So I threw my hand up, and I guess the trumpet bounced off Dave's lip.
No, the teeth.
And his teeth.
Almost knocked my
And
teeth
I heard
out.
him, like I didn't mean to, but I heard Dave, and he got really upset, and he stormed out.
Smashed my trumpet.
Stormed out.
Jumped on my
Threw
trumpet.
his trumpet down outside on the asphalt, and suddenly at that very moment, along came a pickup truck, flattened Dave's trumpet.
When Dave and I first met was when I met my wife Amy, and I was hanging around with some people, Janice and Jim McSorley, or Jim Pearson, I mean. And from there, through karaoke and John Dunn, and Dave and I were singing together at karaoke, and it ended up being a splash together surprise birthday bash for me in the summer of '93. Within that next 10-year span, it was on and off. I ended up selling my drums at one point, which really hurt playing with the guys because I had no equipment anymore. But we played some bars other than that through the era. We played Who's On First. That was a lot of fun.
We have this tabletop, and I'm going to do a demonstration now. I only get out of the way.
Hey, do something. Bart, do anything. Hey, check that out. Hey, very good, eh? think he's dying.
Hey, go get Neely. Go talk to Neely. He's taking this anyway, dude.
Well, with the band, like, I've always wanted to, you know, do something really big with the band and become nationally known in that. So way back when, like over 20 years ago, I started this, and that's the Canadian Advocate Party. And what it is, it's a political party, and it's made up of a lot of Collingwoodites and a lot of Saintites and Wasaga Beachians that are pissed off about the fact that the federal government ripped their shipyard out of Collingwood. And so what I wanted to do was get the Canadian Advocate Party acclaimed as a bona fide political party, and then run in the next election, and then use the band as to help me propel into the and go across Canada raising funds and getting signatures, and at the same time, you know, selling CDs right across Canada. That has always been my goal, to do that. This summer, I got a lot more votes this summer, but as of yet, haven't got the. I don't feel I'm confident enough to submit enough votes. I've got over the amount of votes, but because there's a time factor that I'm afraid that they're not going to legitimize the. But I do have enough votes now, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, I smoke. I'm also an entertainer. I've played all over Ontario. I've played all over Canada. I've played in the States. Now, before, when they first started bringing in the smoking bylaws, they made all the restaurant owners put in the exhausts. And you could sit in a restaurant, have a cigarette, and zoom. The smoke would go right up. Now, there's no reason why we still can't have smoking in restaurants and bars. Now, I'm going to explain to you folks why they did this. They do this in order because we live in a police state, and they want all the smokers out on the street. Oh, there's Rocky so-and-so. Let's get him. Oh, there's Sid Delicious. Let's get him. Oh, there's Dave the Knave from this Valley of Slaves. Let's get him. Smokers have rights too. Now they're banning smoking from parks. What about all these vehicles around here? They put out more COD than anything. What about that? Native smokes are good. They don't have the white man's chemicals in them. Natives believe in 4 things. Tobacco, it's a healing thing. Sweetgrass, cedar, and sage, we smudge. Canadians have to be Indians. I'm going to lower the tax by 5% right across the board. Vote for me, Dave Robinson, for Prime Minister.
Can you get a close up on that? The only thing is, like, you know, she's really dead, you know. She's,
Nice tits.
sorry, yeah, it's, you know. I've been trying to recover the bottom half of her, but the police, they have the bottom half. You know,
this painting here, I did. I was experimenting in the style of tits and ass, and anyway, that's when you just draw on the painting and then paint it, and then faces start coming out, and that's exactly what happened with this. And I like this painting, and also if you look at the. If you remember looking at, there's a red spot there. That kind of is the, you know, the belly of a woman, and that's the womb in that, and that's also you can see, if you look, you can see like the image of a baby in there. So anyway, there's also numerous faces in there. This painting here, I don't know how I got the idea to do that, but I started the blue first, and where Christ came along, I don't know either, but somehow he ended up there, and then behind him is the face of God. It's not finished yet. It's really loosey-goosey right now, but it's going to get. It took a lot out of me just to do that. It was very difficult to paint that. And it takes a lot of strokes. Plus you got paint dripping it down on you too, right? I felt like Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel.
Somebody stole her, like this Lawrence guy. Lawrence they took my handcuffs, and Dave Demchuk, he's the guy he just got charged with attempted rape, and the chick's the one that told me that he did it, and took it into the hawk shop in Collingwood, and the cops found it because she told me about it. She could, you know, he tried to rape. So
you think he'd sell her or rent
Huh?
her? Would he sell her or rent her out?
I don't know what the hell I did. You know.
Did you miss her?
Dave, he handcuffed Lawrence somewhere in a cabin or something like that, and God knows what he was doing, but I don't know. Everybody's asking if he did some kind of inhumane thing to him.
Do you miss her?
Never. Yeah. She's like an air conditioner in the summer.
Wesley, your turn to be registered.
Yeah. Okay, keep going. I'll be right out.
Yeah.
My army is fighting two separate fronts. There's the yellow guys and the brown guys, and they're coming up on two separate hills, and they're on two different directions, and so I'm using two different types of cannons, and that's hit the yellow armies. No, that's the brown ones. No. So anyway, that's why we got to use the special types of equipment on the green ones and the yellow ones. There's two separate ones, and there's special ones that only kill the yellow ones, and the special ones that only kill the green ones. So that's why it's taking longer, because there's more than one, and sometimes they get them mixed up. That's why.
See, my insides are okay, but my outsides are all banged up.
So that's why I have to take that tear out. You know, it's got something to do with pterodactyls, I think.
What happened to your outsides?
Oh, I got banged up with the guy who tried to kill me. Chopper came in between and stopped it, and I was bleeding. I was fighting like a cat, eh? Trying to break his ankles, and the guy fucking comes up and just ready to break my neck. And the dog came right in between and stopped it. I was bleeding like a motherfucker. And I went down the beachfront, cleaned myself off in the water. All the water turned red, like the Red Seas.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was all my blood. So then I cleaned off because I don't want to walk around the place all bloodied up. Then the coppers came and they wanted to drive me in, and I said, "Fuck that! I want an ambulance in to get everything done." So they put me in a CT scan, and I was better. And then they said, "Well, you got to take care of it all for a while." Not too long, just long enough to get the effects of. Like I was 36 here before, now I'm freaking 38. Because of the bulge I got, it's all bruised up like hell. Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Look at that, eh?
Is that from the guy beating you?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, look at this. The fence moves.
I'm nauseous.
Can I get you something?
I'll just take some water. Oh, yeah. When Liz come over me on, my uncle died on Mother's Day. Elmer, star of The Bad Cop. He was with us when we shot up on the mountain. Anyway, unfortunately, God rest his soul. Yeah, he died on Sunday. So I found out when his funeral arrangements are. But I hope I get out for his funeral. They usually have quick funerals. Good night.
Concerned about my happiness. All that thought you're giving me is conscience, I guess. If I were walking in your shoes, I wouldn't worry none. While you and your friends are worrying about me, I'm having lots of fun. Counting flowers on the wall, that don't bother me at all. Playing solitaire till dawn with the deck of 51. Cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. But don't tell me I've nothing to do. Last night I dressed in tails, pretended I was on the town. As long as I can dream, it's hard to slow this swinger down. So please don't give a thought to me, I'm really doing fine. You can always find me here, having quite a time. Counting flowers on the wall, that don't bother me at all. Playing solitaire till dawn with the deck of 51. Smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. Don't tell me see you. I must go, I know I look a fright. Anyway, my eyes are not accustomed to this light, and my shoes are not accustomed to this hard concrete. I must go back to my room and make my day complete. Counted flowers on the wall, that don't bother me at all. Playing solitaire till dawn with the deck of 51. Smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. Don't kill me. There's nothing to do.